wakes you up, goes through with you, welcomes you back home. It's all about you, for you. We break your day to the rising of the sun. We start you off on the positives with self-energized refilling. Hand in hand, toe to toe, in a soothing by and by. We go through your day, keeping you updated with developments around your world and your endeavors. You're better off with CEMTV. As your cheerleader, in your little winning steps, we've got your back when you're down. We lift your spirits and your sights beyond your limitations towards horizons of possibilities each day portends. With a pat on your back, we nudge you on to never think less of yourself. Go do your best, daily, leave the rest. At the end of each day, we urge you, do not give up on yourself. Do not give up on life. Anything is possible. You are going somewhere to happen one day. And when the day winds down, when you need a reliable arm of information and entertainment, welcome home to CEMTV. It's all about you.
You are.
What is the matter?
I feel a little low.
I know what could help. CEMTV Morning Pulse. It's a good day to shine on CEMTV Morning Pulse.
Hey. Wake up, go shine. Go shine, go shine. Morning light, here we go. New day rising, feel the flow. From your world to what's ahead. Every story being said. Feel the rhythm, feel the call. We bring the moment, we bring it up. Wake up, go shine. Step into your light, your time. Feel the world come alive. CEMTV, rise and shine. Wake up, go shine. From the streets to the skyline. Every moment, every line. CEMTV, go shine. From the trends to global views, where the roads and where to go. Markets moving, let it show. Feel the rhythm, feel the call. We bring the moment, bring it up. Wake up, go shine. Step into your light, your time. Feel the world come alive. CEMTV, rise and shine. Wake up, go shine. From the streets to the skyline. Every moment, every line. CEMTV, go shine.
Still feeling low?
No, CEMTV Morning Pulse was just what I needed.
Wake up, go shine, and it's a beautiful Monday for us to celebrate yet another wonderful opportunity that God has entrusted to us. My name is Francis Oyima Aidet, and I'm excited to welcome you to CEMTV Morning Pulse. Of course, this is the new surgery segment where we will bring you up to date with the latest happenings and development in Nigeria. Of course, it's always going to be a full house. I'd like to say good morning to Mibaka Inyanengi and to Barrister Christine. Happy New Week to you both.
Good morning. It's a rainy day or a wet day. This is the coastal region and the rains have set in as reported by the Meteorological Society of Nigeria.
Barrister Christine, how was your weekend?
Beautiful. Good morning, Francis. Always looking dashing, by the way.
Thanks for the compliment. You're
welcome.
doing great yourself. Of course, this morning, lots of issues to look at. But just before we head to the front pages of our national dailies, I'd like to pick your mind. The First Lady of Nigeria is trending yet again for another comment she made that Nigerian celebrities should avoid, buying luxury cars and designer clothes and all of that, and dedicate their finances to lifting Nigerians out of hunger, poverty, and of course, as a result of this, Nigerians are berating her and government officials who are spending huge amounts of the public's fund in luxury as well. I'd like to get your thoughts.
She's putting the cart before the horse. And why do I say so? It is first and foremost every responsible leadership and government's responsibility to cater to what they call the social welfare, the well-being. According to Plato, the summary essence of governance is for the good life of the people.
True.
You plan for the people. The very young, the very aged, the unemployed, the retired, and so on. The various segments and specifications of citizens category in society. You plan for them. To ask entertainers, to ask the rich, that's not your call. It's subjective and relative to them. If I like to, I can be a multi-billionaire. There are multi-billionaires in this world who don't give charity.
True.
But there are people. Rockefeller gave out more than 50% of his wealth. Okay, but I think about 90% of his wealth, he gave it out. That's his choice. Dangote can decide to say, I give out all my wealth. You can't go out, you don't come and tell me. Your primary responsibility in government is to focus to say, what are the challenges of the people? What are the resources we have? How do we manage, combine these resources to answer their fears, their hopes, their aspirations? That should be their focus. So you don't come and say that claim to say government alone can't solve the problems of the people. Well, that's half truth. That's half truth. Yes, it's a collective responsibility, but the onus, the burden is on government. The others can decide to. Of course, Nigeria, as Nigeria is today, in practical terms, it's the citizens that have been like catering for themselves. We provide our power supply. Last night, for about 24 hours or so, I've been running my generator. I bought a jerry can of fuel. You know how much fuel is costing? 1,000 something. So to buy one jerry can and point to your
generator.
Fuel, that's a failure of government enablement. For security, we have our what they call our estate security provided for ourselves, okay, which the government should have been doing for me. Water, we run our borehole, which the government, I pay tax, okay. If you want to list them out, it goes on. You go to the market, food is expensive, where the government will enable agriculture to ensure, to facilitate food, abundant food. So what is it we're taking care of ourselves already? So she shouldn't come and remind us, okay? She should rather focus, tell her husband, who is our president, with due respect, to say, look, my husband, this is what the responsibility of government. Look inwards and see what you can do. This country is rich.
But let me continue, Barrister. Do you think the First Lady will be able to do what Emma is suggesting this
It's because
morning?
of over politics.
She's already speaking, for her husband and against Nigerians, so to say.
This is laughable. I love to take the other route, because you're saying Nigerian entertainers should support the Nigerians, poor, vulnerable Nigerian citizens, right? Don't forget, the First Lady also gave out cars to women leaders. The cars, is it from selling of akara, kwili, or corn? I like to know. Now, I'm not saying there are no days of little beginning. They are. Okay, I'm not deviating from that point. But giving out cars, did you think of the ordinary Nigerians, the citizens that can't even afford 2 square meals, but yet he gave out cars?
Over 10 million
right?
each.
No. Aside from that, now the president,
the cars, each of them is over 10 million. So you're going to share per capita income.
Okay, and now if celebrities want to do charity donation, it's their free will. You don't have to, corner them to do. That's their personal stuff. If I want to give, it's my business. You don't have to tell me how I want to use my wealth. It's mine. Nigeria borrow every year. We're still in debt till now. The late President Buhari, not like his private jet had some crash or something on it. There are no dent, but yet we have new cars for the president, and also new private jet for the president. All of this money, and yet we borrowed every year. In short, I think we're even indebted to all the countries to start with. It's laughable. Now you're telling me the celebrity should also support like Davido. What are you doing with Nigerian money? What are you doing? We don't see it, but we only hear we borrow. We do this. I mean, it's laughable. I don't even expect this coming from the First Lady to start with.
Well, one thing is clear. The likes of Burna Boy and Davido that the First Lady highlighted in her speech have been people who have significantly utilized their personal resources to invest in upgrading the lives of Nigerians across the 36 states of the Federation and the FCT. Davido, for once, has made different headlines for donating millions of his hard-earned money to charity. And this is something we cannot take for granted. Yes, they are blessed. And while the good book says, both for those of us who are Muslims and those of us who are Christians, charity is something that we need to invest in. It is absolutely the exclusive decision of the individual. But then, government failure should not be excused as a reason to bamboozle Nigerians into doing what they do not want to do. If we are to say anything about lifting Nigerians out of poverty, the first people to take the right action should be the executive. We are investing millions, billions into buying furniture, into buying cars, into refurbishing apartments that should not have been so, or that didn't even need refurbishment in the first place. So the cost of governance is another issue that we have to address, because these are things that Nigerians know. If we take decisive actions as a government, then lifting Nigerians out of poverty and channeling these funds to other areas such as security, electricity, would be a thing of the past.
Let me just add quickly. How much did the Nigerian government support these persons she's referring to? At least I've heard their story.
When they started,
they borrowed monies to grind their hustle.
We're very much aware of how the entertainment industry is self-funded.
And now you want to read?
We know the truth. We know the story.
He sold items. Go and check. He sold items to push it. Even his father did not support him initially. He sold things to support his career. Now he has made it. You're telling him, come on, you want to tell him how to spend his money?
How?
Well, that's it. But let's quickly head to the front of the national dailies. Meanwhile, we had promised you today's going to be a huge conversation, and we have a guest seated with us live in the studio. We'll be unveiling that guest shortly, and of course, lots of serious conversations will be coming up. But on the front page of the national dailies, a few stories made it to the headlines. Of course, we're starting with the Punch newspaper this morning. Screaming headline: troops kill 274 insurgents as Nigeria records 882 attacks. Details are on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Of course, the writer to the story: Borno tops violence charged with 172 fatalities. Zamfara Plateau follow. U.S. body report says insurgents target aid to workers, cargo trucks, and schools. Report identifies Borno Mongono's access as Nigeria's critical humanitarian flashpoints. Above the masthead, recovered ISAP footage reveals Palestinian trainer, Moroccan doctor. That's according to the military. Well, we saw the disturbing footage that surfaced yesterday over the insecurity. But above the masthead still, rescued Oyo pupils may meet families today. Foreign debt servicing galled almost $1 billion in 2 months. Page 34 has details of the story. And there's a picture story of the flood ravaging Nigeria. Commuters stranded as flood wreaks havoc on Lagos-Ogun roads. It's not just limited to Lagos and Ogun. In Rivers State, we've seen different incidents. We've seen the worst case scenario happening in Akwa Ibom State, neighboring states, and of course, also not forgetting Cross Rivers State has also been deeply affected, just like other states of the Federation. Those are the major stories on the front page of the Punch newspaper this morning. The very last before we leave: 2027 presidency, APC Muslim ticket sparks fresh debate. That's something we'll look into this morning. But moving away from the Punch newspaper, Delhi Sun is the next stop this morning. Screaming headline: Ori school children. Security sources reveal how abductors, wives, kids arrest pave way for a rescue. How joint forces make them waste ammunition before final onslaught. Page 5 has details. And Delhi Sun above the masthead: Atiku slam federal government over increase in WAEC NECO fees, says government making education more expensive for Nigerians. Critical question there raised by Atiku Abubakar. Of course, DMO, federal government borrowed 7.6 trillion via T-bills, that's treasury bills, bonds, in 6 months. ICPC to RNX Minister Naji today, PFIPC DG at Delhi tomorrow. Rescue order Nigerians in captivity in Borno. Katsina orders can tell federal government why I want to engage or be in debate. Dave Omwahi. You're not qualified. Most Nigerians have reacted to that. The only person who can engage or should be the presidential candidate of the APC. First floating LNG project, UTM offshore target September final investment decision. Those are the major stories. And Delhi Sun, Delhi Trust is the next stop this morning. Screaming headline: federal government's exam fee hike raises dropout fears. And of course, one agency, two heads. Wike's ally remains in office despite Tinubu's directive. That one is laughable. Definitely something you want to read out for yourself. How a presidential order is being flouted despite, the minister being answerable to the president. Raises a question: who answers to who at this point? But let's move away from that. Above the masthead, 9 family members, 27 others killed in Plateau, Benue, Niger State attack. Parents have abducted Borno pupils, mark pressure after Oyo rescue. He was, I hope, father of slain 28-year-old Lieutenant Mearns. Those are the details on the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper. And the last, before Barrister takes us to some national papers, we see on the front page of the Guardian newspaper, the screaming headline: Nigeria leaves East-West recycling to hustlers, misses out on $89 billion income. Page 6 has details of the story. Above the masthead, Trump's now new Africa envoy visits Nigeria, presents new migration deal. Dangote cracks down on illegal haulage, offers 500,000 reward for whistleblowers. Those are the major stories you find on the front page of the Guardian newspaper. And of course, over to you, Barrister.
And this morning on the National, we have 4 days mourning declared after death of former Qatari Emir. And also still on the National, U.S. Senator dies at 71 after sudden illness. Meeting demand at NOC, lodged $90 million order to 4 LNG tankers. And still on the national paper this morning, Ziyad Museum Director of Importance of Community. And above the masthead, we have Iran and U.S. inch closer to all-out war amid renewed attacks on Gulf states. And we'll move on to daily graphics this morning. It says, commit adequate resources to site to meet deadline, Road Minister to contractors. You can get that on page 13. 2026 best candidate began SHS election July 20th. And still on daily graphic this morning, you have one bank seamless digital service. And above the masthead, we have dealing with flood waste. President activates 6 idle Zomlian stations. And I will move on to daily guide this morning. It says Abu Trika pleads not guilty in U.S. Reverend Wangam addresses Guyana AG Biennial Council. Gunshot rock NPP polls. Okatakie Africa arrested. Afrifa arrested, I beg your pardon. And also still on Daily Guide this morning, 2 Nigerians arrested over murder in Tamale. AT picks up, denies miracle Agboye. And that's all we have on Daily Guide this morning. Over to you, Mr. M.I.
Well, of course, take it over from MI. A lot of stories we'd like to look at this morning, but before giving you the background to the story, I'd like to welcome to the studio this morning Chief Asim Adams, is a legal practitioner and co-convener, Access to Justice International, Port Harcourt, River State. Good morning. Welcome to the studio, sir.
Yeah, good morning to you all. Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning.
Okay, so Chief, I'd like to start directly from an issue that has been ongoing. First off, let's go to Edo State, where the government of Edo has ordered the mandatory installation of CCTV cameras for all business operators. And they say the reason for this directive is to help curb insecurity. And in the midst of this, there have been several concerns expressed by the business owners in Edo State. First, they're talking about the fact that business is not moving. We're talking about high cost of production. We're talking about high cost of running the business operation. We're talking about multiple taxations, as highlighted by the people of Edo State. And aside from that, the question of whether the Edo State government can actually be able to apprehend criminals who are walking around or who get access into people's businesses with the installation of the CCTV camera. Take into consideration the fact that in Nigeria, we do not have a unified data system where you say if we pick up a person's face and run the identification of the person's face, we can identify who the criminal is, and we can link the criminal to identification number and be able to track down. So concerns are, one, the cost of installing the CCTV camera, who is going to bear it? Two, is it legal for the government to direct business operators to install CCTV camera? And three, what is the usefulness of CCTV camera when people can actually cover their faces, get into the business premises, steal and go out, and the government will still not be able to provide the culprits?
All right, thank you very much. I think I will periscope the legality.
True.
You know, that is the area I think I have the premature authority, you know, to talk on. You know, because security is a personal thing.
True.
Many of us have CCTVs in our premises. In my office, where I operate from, you know, even though I'm a tenant there, we have CCTV cameras installed for personal security reasons. You understand?
True.
In our various houses also, some of us have CCTV cameras. You know, it might not be to maybe for investigation purposes or maybe to track down the criminals, but to alert. You understand? For instance, I'm at home. I have a CCTV camera in my compound. I have the cell, or what they call it. I can watch and see intruders coming into my compound, you know, at about 1 a.m., 2 a.m., you know, in the morning. My own duty now is to now alert security agencies that people are invading my premises. So the usefulness of you know, private CCTV cameras cannot be overemphasized, you know, this way. But the area I'm more concerned is this: the government do not have such right to allocate, appropriate, and even say that it is compulsory, you know, for people to install CCTV cameras in their private compounds. Whereas you, as a government, you have not installed public CCTV cameras on the streets, you know, where I'm moving to. If I'm driving to my house and maybe I'm being tracked, I don't know, there's no CCTV camera in my area, neighborhood where I reside. You understand? So that is the duty of government, local government, state government, as the case may be. Now, on the other part, the private side is me. I can decide. It's a voluntary one for my own security. Now, the legality, because you see, a lot of debates have come up. Now, what debate is this? The governors, erroneously and prematurely so, they believe that under Section 176, you know, sub 2 of the 1999 Constitution, that says that the governors have the right to secure public, you know, to maybe against insurrection, breaches, security breaches, so they can just wake up one morning and begin to ride roughshod over citizens. That is not true. Now, that particular Section 176 sub 2 gives the governors, you know, that power under Section 14 sub 2, who talks about security and welfare. But you cannot arbitrarily, as an executive, you know, begin to churn out laws to say it is mandatory. It is the duty of the House of Assembly of the state. So the first thing that those state government need to do if they are listening to us is that, one, you have to go before the House of Assembly. You can sponsor an executive bill coming from you. You can also lobby, you know, people in the legislature, House of Assembly members, to say, please, can you, you know, bring in bills, you know, through the House on licensing of CCTVs or installation of CCTVs, you know, in our various private homes and businesses, as case may be. Then, if they are able to pass that law, it now becomes a law that is binding. Now, if there's a law that's been passed by the House and it's a valid law requiring to make it become a law and governor assent, it becomes a valid law in the state operating in that particular law.
Okay. If
I flout it, you cannot prosecute me, or you can punish me, as the case may be. But in this instance, the governor has just made, what I normally call a unilateral executive order. And the Supreme Court has nullified, has also decimated, has also informed the executive arm of government that the duty of legislating is solely that of the legislature, the parliament. And in no circumstance, except there's a war, that you can begin to sit down on your own and begin to legislate what is not supposed to be your duty. You understand? So the governors must know this, that arbitrarily you cannot do that. So the particular order given, if I were to advise people that will say this, let me know this word disobey, just relax, because there is no valid platform or reason for them to prosecute you, assuming you do not fix or install your CCTV in your business premises. Because invariably, what I'm even trying to say is that it is clear under our constitution that you cannot be punished for an offense that there's no law backing it.
Okay, Chief.
So in this area now, there's no law backing it for now.
All right, Chief, I'd love to ask this question. The other state government of saying install CCTV camera for business owners. I want to know, is this just for security purpose or for invasion of privacy, invading privacy? Then secondly, CCTV is not cheap depending on what you are using. What happened to those that can afford it if he finally take this to the house and it's now an order for every Nigerian business owner to install it? What happened to people that can afford this?
Apart from the prices of installation and the CCTV, as case may be, the NDPA, there's an act on data control. You don't just come out and pick my phone and begin to go through. Even if I record whatever in my compound. You can't just come to me and pick it up and say, because you are government, there's no law that gives you that opportunity except I submit, to you. So assuming I have a CCTV camera in my premises, can the governor, the police, even walk in and say, I yank it up and begin to replay? That is invasion, to my own privacy.
Okay.
Another section 39, I have that particular right.
Okay. Chief, you hold on that thought. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll return to Chief to continue with that line of thought. Stay with us.
This is CEMTV. Reliable news and entertainment.
Is it time? I can't wait to see it.
Voice of the people, stories that matter.
Oh wow!
Truth in every moment, now and forever. Across every border, across every land, we form, we empower, together we stand. From Africa to the world, connecting every voice.
What's on your mind today? The goal by Victor Osimhen was amazing.
The economy. Isn't that what's on everybody's mind?
I would like to see more women in positions of authority.
If you heard and saw it from CEMTV, you can take it to the bank. CEMTV, your reliable source of news, information, and entertainment.
This is CEMTV, reliable news and entertainment.
Worried about the state of your world? Need better and broader ideas? Stay tuned to CEMTV 24/7, always thinking possibilities. CEMTV, reliable news and entertainment.
CEMTV wakes you up, goes through with you, welcomes you back home. It's all about you, for you. We break your day to the rising of the sun. We start you off on the positives with self-energized refilling. Hand in hand, toe to toe, in a soothing by and by. We go through your day, keeping you updated with developments around your world and your endeavors. You're better off with CEMTV. As your cheerleader, in your little winning steps, we've got your back when you're down. We lift your spirits and your sights beyond your limitations towards horizons of possibilities each day portends. With a pat on your back, we nudge you on to never think less of yourself. Go do your best, daily, leave the rest. At the end of each day, we urge you, do not give up on yourself. Do not give up on life. Anything is possible. You are going somewhere to happen one day. And when the day winds down, when you need a reliable arm of information and entertainment, welcome home to CEMTV. It's all about you.
Glad to welcome you back. In case you just joined us, this is CEMTV Surgery, and we have the special privilege of speaking with Chief Adams, legal practitioner and co-convener Access to Justice International. Before we take that quick break, Chief was speaking to us on the legality of the government of Edo State ordering businesses in the state to install CCTV footage. I'll come back to you, Chief, to complete the line of thought before we went for the break.
Yes, so thank you very much. So what I was trying to explain is that if the governor or the government of Edo State do not take it to cognizance, Section 39, and the Extant Act, the NDPA, that talks about data privacy, etc., as case may be, then what they will be doing is that it's an intrusion into the private, lives of citizens, because business places are owned by us. Though the name business is there, it's not just public as it is. I can tell you can't come into that place because it's a private business arrangement. Now, the second question and the second snag, that I see that I've asked them is this. Now, for instance, if I have my private CCTV camera in my business place and the police want to make use of it, are they going to audit? Because it's going to carry a lot of visuals and whatever the case may be. Some may not be, some may be obscene. It is as, let me use open and close. You know what I'm saying? If I run a restaurant, for instance, and I run a hotel, for instance, there are people who are coming there who do not even want their faces to be seen. So what happens to them? I'm supposed to, protect them. So, and the camera is working 24 hours. I see people moving into the hotels, coming out, and you are coming there to profile, the camera, whatever the case may be. What happens to the privacy of the people? Can they bring an action against you? So these are things the House of Assembly, who are in the best position to know, must synchronize, with the NBPA, that particular act on data privacy. You don't just come out and say, do this, do that. So they must have to work hand in hand, with the extant laws for that to be. And the government must, make sure that the House of Assembly gets a bill that is now sent to be a law. Either it can be called private, whatever act, just like Ondo State and I think a Delta State. They have a similar law that is for their various states. Ogun has one. I think Lagos also is planning one now. Yeah. So many states do not just come out to just say you have to do this within about 3 weeks or 4 weeks. You see, the military mentality and that overdose, and most times, is affecting governance in Nigeria.
How so?
People just wake up in the morning because you feel you are an executive governor. You just make orders and say, I give you 2 weeks, and after that 2 weeks, if you don't do this, we are going to deal with you. This is a democracy, for goodness sake.
Okay.
This is a democracy. You have to carry people along. There must be rapprochement.
Okay.
There must be interactions.
Okay, talking about carrying people along. If the Police Act 2020 Section 4 is correct,
yes,
that states are permitted to make regulations for the prevention of crime.
Yes.
Can they impose forced unfunded mandate without enabling law? And shouldn't they consult, like you said, with the people and seek ample legal advice, information, enlightenment before designing and dishing out the orders, so that it has human face? All through the development of law in society, it is associated with civility. From the Romans to the English law, it's about law is made for man, not to enslave man.
That's right.
So do you think that our leaders do this, or they are again suffering under the intoxication of the opium of power?
It's just pure opium of power. Now let me put it very succinct. I've seen colleagues quote sections of the Police Act or any other extant act as case may be.
Okay.
The Constitution is very, very clear. Section 3 sub 1, it says that if any law or any other law is inconsistent with sections of the Constitution, that particular law becomes well. For instance, if you read Section 39 about right to privacy, that alone encapsulates. So anybody that wants to churn out any law, any state, you must have to go through and profile and periscope Section 39. That is the right to privacy, so that you don't fall foul, of the Constitution. Because if you do that, I can go to court and challenge and say this is incongruous, with Section 39, Section 35, Section 36. You understand the point? So these are things that they must have to holistically look at. So now when we look at, like we talk about the opium of power, that is, they are so intoxicated. And I said that is why the military father mentality, is still in most of our people who govern. Now let me put it very clearly to you. Now to tell you that we run a civilian democracy, that is why you cannot govern without laws. And even if you want to govern with those laws, the people must make inputs. That is why you see in the National Assembly, in the legislature, in view of the Magna Carta, you must have to do what they call public hearing.
You see,
so that we the people can come in there and make our contributions to it, for it to become a valid law. You understand the point? For it to become a valid law, the people must participate. The law, like Charles Dickens says, an ass. You understand the point now? But we look at it as a charity begins from home, but justice is next door. As the case may be, so these people must look up to the Constitution. You don't govern, without recourse to the Constitution. I was listening in your reception a particular issue on education. You hike you know, what's it called, this WAEC fees.
WAEC fees, yeah.
Under Section 18, if you have the Constitution, you can bring it. It is provided that states must provide free education. You understand? Free what? Education. It's in our Constitution.
Shouldn't our House of Assemblies, our legislators, be holding executive
this
check?
You see, the National Assembly and our legislator is just an apron string, you know, of the executive arm of government. And you know, when Baron Stanley Montesquieu, you know, propounded this theory of separation of powers, he also on the sideline talked about fusion of powers. That is what is playing out in Nigeria today. Where the executive, where the executive arm of government has appropriated the judicature and also the legislature. And that is why you find that there is no robust debate in the House. If you watch the British Parliament, and if you listen or watch the Congress, or let me say the Knesset of Israel, just watch their proceedings, you see robust debates of people's aspiration and whatever, point for point. But here we just say I concur. Some of them are even sleeping, as case may be. It is because of the fact that the executive arm of government has serenaded them, you know, giving them a syrup, you know, a sleeping pea, as case may be. So you just wake up and say, okay, I approve. Otherwise, you know, even Baron Stanley Montesquieu, that propounded the separation of powers, you know, went further and said that there's something called fusion of powers, and it discouraged, you know, democracies, that anything that has to do with fusion of power will lead or may lead to anarchy or anomie. And I want to say with due respect that Nigeria is in a state of anarchy, drifting towards anomie. You see, people think that anarchy means when you begin to break down. No. When non-state actors begin to sit down, look at what I don't want to call their names. A man who has a grievance or a grudge, a criminal whatever, will not want to go to the police station. He goes to this man, a popular guy, say, I have a problem, help me solve. The VDM, let me use it very succinctly. VDM will pick up that matter and begin to go to execute and, you know, whatever. Whereas the police is there. So that is a state of anarchy. People happen, they go to Showore. Events happen, they don't even go to police station is very close there. They begin to look for traditional rulers or chiefs or, you know, Asari and the rest of them who will settle their matters for them.
Is this not as a result of the failed institutions?
Yes. That is what I'm talking about, because the legislature is not working. The executive has also collapsed. You understand? Coalesced. You understand? Into one body, and it cannot function. And this is what Stanley Montesquieu said, that we should be very careful when pursuing democracy, so that there will be no fusion of powers. That the moment you have fusion of powers, then you may be drifting towards anarchy. Anarchy means that the essence of government and institution are no longer relevant.
Chief, I would love to take your mind back to what you said earlier. You say before you pass out anything, be it a governor or president, you also discuss this thing with your people.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, so the case where the president wake up and say, subsidy is gone. And also, the federal government has increased WAEC from what it used to be 25,000 to 50,000. What do you think Nigerians will do to change the current reality of what we have today in democracy?
The only thing that we need to do is for us to keep talking, because we cannot change government by force. It's by civil means. The only thing for us to do is to enlighten, sensitize voters, so that they will have what they call ethical rebate and revolution. You know, because if we have ethical rebate and revolution, nobody will wake me up on election day and go and stand and give me 5,000 to vote. I know I want to vote for if I left my house, so I'll go there and do it, as case may be. But in this case that we see now, we must have to speak out. Like Gunter Grass said, that the duty of the citizen is to open his mouth wide. What does that mean? And talk to authority. Talk to authority. And you keep talking. It might not be violent, you know, demonstrations. That's why you say in civil societies, people don't burn houses, don't begin to shout on top of trees or rooftops, as the case may be. They come in there, you know, they have their whatever, the poster is there, every day is there. I remember in those days, in front of the American embassy in Lagos, there was a particular man, cripple, that was always using his, for those of us who were there 90s or whatever, you see that man was always in front of the embassy. You understand? He had his umbrella there, he was living there. Why? The story we got was that this particular man lived in the US sometime in the 70s or 80s or thereabout. Something happened to him that impaired him and demobilized him. He couldn't do anything. They now ferried him down to Nigeria, as the case may be. So the guy now came back without compensation. So he came back, built a small, batch or whatever they call it there.
That's his own
his own protest. He was there day and night, every day, until one of ambassadors came and they took him and said, "What's the problem with this man?" He later got compensated. That is protest. The protest of the Mahatma Gandhi civil disobedience. That has, when we take such things to our hands, they will listen to us. So we have to consciously do that. We have to consciously talk. Under Section 22 of the 1999 Constitution, you owe the duty. The press is stated in the media.
Yeah.
Okay. So
you owe us the duty to keep inviting us, to keep talking with us, doing that rapprochement. Government will listen to us one way or another.
All right. So, Chief, before we move on to the next story, one last question on this. Protest is one of the ways to engage government.
Yes.
And I am one of those who believe in the Martin Luther King Jr. way of protesting, not violent, but speaking the truth to power.
Absolutely,
and putting the facts and figures as it is. But Nigeria and Nigerian government have had a way of always turning peaceful protests into criminal activities. From the Nigerian police force to the Nigerian army, all the military forces have oftentimes been released and deployed to face Nigerians when we decide we are going to protest. In the face of this intimidation, blatant disrespect and disregard for Nigerian human life, and abuse of power, what can Nigerians do? Some have argued that the elections that coming up 2027 is the next way for us to choose who becomes a leader and choose differently. But do you think Nigerians have the moral stamina at this point, looking at all that has happened, the intimidation, the abuse of power? I mean, the last time we saw Showore in court, the DSS whisked him away, and the next day they prevented even his lawyers from getting access to the court. These are some of the ways that the state is preventing Nigerians from carrying out their constitutional right when it comes to demanding for the right thing to be done.
People who lead our protests are political activists. With due respect to them, most of them belong to political parties.
Okay.
If you look at a man like Martin Luther King, he never belonged to a political party.
True.
If you look at Mahatma Gandhi, he never belonged to a political party, even though he had a movement. You understand?
True.
At the end of the day, the only one we can say is even Nelson Mandela, but he didn't participate directly. He was a pure activist. He came back and you saw what happened. As case may be. So what happens now is that many people who lead protests today are political activists, not social activists. They are different, from characters like Chief Gani Faboyemi, who has an altruistic, motive to better the lot of people. Government ran profile around him and found, look, you can't just come and tear gas Gani just like that and take him out or push him on the ground. You understand? Government ran around him, security checks, they found out that he had no foreign sponsor. But some of these young men who are doing this thing, with due respect to them, I say this with all sense of responsibility. Now, you come out, you want to do a protest first of all. You go and pay people to come and, most people are not even coming out to protest genuinely from their hearts. You recruited them. A young man was coming from, Dubai, when you saw the airport was free because he had to sponsor one or two people with t-shirts and whatever. Paid flight for them to come and welcome him. That is not genuine. A genuine protest comes up when people consciously, I don't even know, when we get there, you see the leader. A good example, was the NSAS, whatever as case may be.
2020.
That was hijacked.
You understand? It was later hijacked because of, the political whatever as the case may be. But that was a genuine one. If we had built on it, That hijack would have, they would have killed, but it would have continued. Why did it not continue? There's something that, broke the back of the camel. You understand the point now? So we have situations like that. The Martin Luther King talk about, he paid dearly with his life. But you see, it was after then that people now the American began to realize that, oh look, this man lost his life. It is sympathy now came in, and that particular movement now turned into law that is in operation today. You understand? So we have people in Nigeria here who are opportunists. For instance, when we were in school in those days, we were activists, senior leaders coming out and say, we are going to protest. We say, no problem. We go out and we do the protest on the road. We do not, we don't, vandalize things. We just go to government house, speak to them, block the road and go back. But in Nigeria here, what happens? You now see that if you want to protest today at Rumola, I cannot even go to Rumola again. Even those who are not, affiliated with you, you can't even go out. I drive past whatever the case may be. The so-called peaceful protesters will either vandalize my car or disrupt my movement and say, why have I not joined them? You understand the point? So that is why you find out that it does not work, and it will not give opportunity for government to now come and do what now infiltrate and begin to destroy it, as case may be.
It's not partly due to the ignorance of the citizenry about our legal rights, and that it behoves on us to defend it. Like you said, the law is an ass. It doesn't work itself. Someone has to apply it, work it, make it effective.
The problem we have, I've said this, is that we lack that. We need what we call ethical revolution. That ethical, what I'm talking about, we had it in the 70s. NANS, as we call students, whatever,
students.
They were never friends to politicians.
Today, their leaders are.
But today, the leaders of NANS, you see them in Aso Rock. You see a Nancy that driving a back. You see a Nancy that will have a car, put a 001. In those days, go and ask people like Shego Okio. You understand the point now? And so, Ebenezer Baba Tokpe.
Sure, it was still from.
I understand that was the Gen Z's or there's something about the old school.
Okay.
These people that did Ali Must Go.
Okay.
They didn't have even bicycles. You understand? Professor Escotoya was still wearing Betlu slippers because they didn't need anything. They saw the politicians as those who have, degraded, Nigeria to that bestial level. I remember when Professor Ali Mazrui did a documentary in the 70s on Africa, and he called particular Nigeria, said Nigeria is a garden of Eden in decay. At the end of the day, during the Ali Must Go, whatever, that became the sixth song for students who were activists. You see, students will say, we are going there today, and that man must go, Ali must go. You might kill us. They kill people. You understand? But at the end of the day, they were not hobnobbing, with the politicians. Quite diametrically opposed to what is happening today. A right activist is riding a Range Rover. I'm telling you, in Nigeria today, I see them as, executive political activists. A right activist is wearing a suit of about 500,000 naira. You understand? The wristwatch he is wearing is about 1 million to 10 million. Then you call people. No, the proletariats will not even want you to be there. They see you as an enemy. I told them, I said, let me tell you something. If genuine revolution start today, if you have an item that could be stolen from you, you are a bourgeois, you go down with the revolution. Because the proletariat will see you as an oppressor. I've told my friend, I said, look, the moment you walk on the street and you see somebody come to you and steal your phone, it means that you have something of value and you are a man of value. If a genuine revolution starts today, we are going to be consumed. They will run away. Because the people that are going to take over that is not this people you are seeing. You understand? The Tiananmen Square, you can in China, you saw what happened. No, these people you are seeing today are charlatans. These people you are seeing today are just, serenading us, hiding, using a subterfuge, or whatever the case may be.
Okay.
An activist is going to get, he has about 10, 20, 30 lawyers. The Ghanaians of this world, they tell you, I will remain here until you leave me. If you don't let me go, I'm not going to court. It happened.
All right. So, yeah,
so we need to really come up with something that is, that revolution has to come up.
All right, Chief, let's head out to something else that is bothering Nigerians. In the month of March this year, 2026, a federal high court sitting in Warri Delta State affirmed the constitutional rights of Nigerians to record police officers conducting stop and search operations in public spaces. It went further to highlight the different instances where Nigerians can film police officials, and of course, shortly after that, the police personnel went viral for saying, if you record me, I will shoot you. And then after that comment went viral, the authorities of the Nigerian police force came to do window dressing, addressing the issue and claiming they have arrested and are dealing with disciplinary measures for the police personnel who made that video. He came back later on to apologize to Nigerians. Last week, we saw the one of the social media influencers, a young man, Pelad, going into trouble for filming a police officer. Now, my question is, between the Nigerian police, the judiciary which interprets the law, which is more superior? And is the police above the law? And if the police is not above the law, why do we keep having a back and forth when it comes to the interpretation of the law and its application to Nigerians?
Weak institutions. Now, let me tell you something. I know exactly what you're talking about. Weak institutions. But let me start first of all. Now, there's no particular law that has a limitless window for you to do whatever you want to do.
True.
There are limitations to every particular law on earth. When you say presumption of innocence, there are limitations. Life and etc. according to the Constitution, there are limitations that, if this happened, you can't talk about your right, as case may be. Now, in this instance, now let me tell you what that particular, law, even though there's no open law that has been, concepted by you bring up, conceived, let me use the word, by the legislature. The courts have heard, yes, you can, video police or security officers, but that same law says, in as much as you are doing that, don't obstruct their duties. Is that not very difficult?
It is complicated.
Is it not complicated? You can, I can film them, but he said don't obstruct their duties. And that was the reason why Pella, whoever that guy was, because police has a narrative of twisting things to suit them.
They said he obstructed investigation while recording.
I didn't. You understand? But that's what the law says.
So as a lawyer,
so you see the problem we have here right now.
Yes, as a lawyer, that's section 24 of the Police Act that they stand upon to claim obstruction.
Yeah.
As a lawyer, what of course he who makes an allegation has a burden of proof.
Even in the Constitution.
Yes. So what are the cases? What would they relate logically and otherwise to say it amounted to obstruction?
Do you know that I think section 30 that talks about right to life also, I am not by constitution here. If you go to section sub 3, he says that the police can even shoot somebody that is evading arrest, somebody that is jumping, that want to jump, run away from justice, like court has already convicted you and then you want to escape. The policeman has the right to bring you down. That is the exception to right to life. It's in your constitution. So you see, my own problem now is this: the execution of these particular laws and the interpretations. That is where our problem is. You understand? And if I get your question correctly, you're talking about interpretation. Isn't also
good?
The
Police Act 2020.
The Police Act
2024.
That's right.
Where they claim obstruction.
Obstruction.
Because if there is no specific outright law,
that's right.
What are the evidences you're going to put forward to say the amounts of obstruction? And let me also point out the famous O.J. Simpson's case.
Yes.
From the shots recorded during when the security men came to arrest O.J. Simpson, they went to the court, and the lawyers had an evidence of where one of the police officers' hand was on the trigger. So it's still there on the internet. I downloaded document recently. His hand was on the trigger, and they analyzed it to say he was. They had the way of how they grade their ready to shoot. And so they analyzed if O.J. Simpson resisted arrest, if at that point it warranted him, and they faulted that police officer for putting his hand on the trigger. They got that shot from recording. of someone within the scene of the crime.
Maybe it should be the police vest video or something like that, because they have every policeman has his own camera, you understand? So maybe that's where they got it. But you see, in the Nigerian case, we are not as sophisticated as those people.
The Western
our own, instead of we are medieval, we have medieval police, and we do medieval policing, in Nigeria, and that is why we are backward in terms of policing. So the Nigerian police is the most dangerous police in the world, apart from the Indian police. Yes, let me tell you, they can contrive. I'm a lawyer for 34 years. I know what I'm talking about. They can contrive situations just to get their bidding. Like when they say obstructed
Pakistan, Afghanistan.
Pakistan, they're even getting a little bit, but Nigeria, India, those police forces are terrible. You understand? Now look at it. Now, you see, this is a country where the police will go on what they call stingray. They drive around cities with their van.
Mass arrest.
They just mass arrest people.
And they say for
when they mass arrest you, then they now go somewhere and say, bring this. Those who are not able to, give out whatever as case may be, will now be taken to their cell and kept there. You understand the point? Then they begin to, make sure that your psychological state, it becomes traumatic. Before you know, they begin to call your relations for help. When your relations now come and say, we want to take this man, and say, do you know the offense he has committed? They become the accuser and the judge. Do you know the offense he has committed? You now begin to, even lawyers go there. They ask, you know the offense you are coming. Who are you? Are you the brother? Are you the sister? How did you know that he's here? They begin to intimidate. They use intimidation as a tool or a weapon to disarm people. You understand? Now, when you now say, okay, what is the offense? Says offense of armed robbery.
With no clear evidence.
With no clear evidence. You understand? We have seen situations where officers will say, okay, I'm going to deal with you. And that is the reason why you find out a man writes a petition against Mr. A. Police ought to read the petition of maybe armed robbery TC, investigate first. But rather, based on that petition, on a piece of paper of 5 naira, 10 naira, biro or whatever pen, they leave the office around 2 a.m., come to the house and delete your place and arrest you, manacle you and take you to their cell. What is the problem? Say he's accused, there's a petition against him. So when you are in their cell, they begin to now do investigation. At the end of the day, you come down on the man, he's not even culpable. What happens? So this is the problem we are having in Nigeria today. A police force that has been lobotomized, a police force that is complicit and compromised, a police force that has become a Gestapo organization. And we begin to look at situations of this nature. You actually solve these questions. And the questions we're asking is this: how come that human rights are taking a background in whatever we're doing? It's so sad, in my own opinion. And I feel that at times I will discuss this kind of matters, it becomes something that I feel highly, very, very emotional when it gets to this level, because I know what I've gone through.
Okay, sir.
In situations of claiming rights for Nigerians
who had no reason.
Sorry, sir. Each time lawyers cast aspersions, allege, accuse the executive or legislators about compounding the issues of the breakdown of law and order and the failure of the rule of law, I ask the question: the judiciary is empowered and can act primarily through the doctrine of separation of powers, judicial review, fundamental rights, and so on. Why hasn't the judiciary, you have been there over 30 years, come together? You hold your annual MBA conferences and so on, yes, and so on and so on. I still say that the judiciary in Nigeria, you have failed to use your power, to bolster your power, to impose your power legally, legitimately, for a positive influence. When I hear the complaint as a pressman, when you go to defend your clients in the police station, I hear complaints, they harass you, they even assault some of you. I will hear all those. They disrespect you, they abuse lawyers. Yeah. Get out of this place, poor lawyer, church and bail lawyer.
That's right.
In a police station that you went to bail someone.
Absolutely, yeah.
You are there, they are intimidating and assaulting your client. You try to intervene, they do all manner of things. They come up with charges, spurious charges, as you have said, spurious charges, and they go to the court. Before a judge will hear those so-called spurious judges, and still, when you know that the ulterior motive is obvious, they just want to throw that man to jail, maybe for challenging them, for telling them that policeman, you're collecting bribes. So, okay, you want to teach me the law.
Yes.
You know what you call false charges. And a judge sat upon it, approved, they throw that man to detention. So, when you come to blame, is it possible for the judge to say, Mr. Police officer, you are doing your job, but this one, you have crossed the boundary, I will not approve this. Go back and do the proper thing. Let that man go. Put him, you understand me? Why can't they come together and pull them, sorry sir, and say, we will not hear any case again until we get our respect from the police. You must respect us, you must respect the law, you must respect the citizens. Rather, they are in cahoots by willy-nilly, by action and inaction.
The problem is, one is the law.
What has the law done?
Firstly, the law is there. If you go to section 293 to 299 of the Admission of Criminal Justice Act 2015, enacted, signed by Jonathan administration, you go to section 293 to 299, especially from 296 to 299, you will see where the problem is. And that problem has long been there. That is why you see our prisons our prison yards are crowded. Awaiting trial. What does that particular whatever say? It says that the police or any security agency that has any case or suspicion against somebody can arrest. And immediately the man is arrested, that the police or the arresting authority can approach the nearest magistrate court, what they call remand order, which an ex parte order. That is the act is mandating whoever that is the judge, whoever, they have the right. So they come before them and say, we have arrested Mr. A. We need 14 days in the first instance to detain him pending investigation. The magistrate, based on that particular section 2, that is whatever he will sign. You understand the point? And take the man and say he gives to them, they will go and detain the man. 14 days in the first instance. After the 14 days, before the 14 days elapse or expire, they will come again before that going to say another 14 days. They will do 14 till it gets to 54 days under a law that is here. But we have said that particular law is anathema to our constitution.
Why would you come together to approach the legislation?
I'm coming to that level now.
Okay.
Now, at the end of the day, we say that that particular section 296 to 299 is anathema, incongruous
against human rights.
Against not just human rights, section 26 of 5, which is the fulcrum on which rule of law rests. That is that every man accused of an is presumed innocent until
proven guilty.
But that is like police is your friend, bail is free. It's just like that. But when you know bail is not free.
Police is not free.
But when they say you are innocent until it's proven guilty, the reverse is the case. So you understand? You may want to prove that you didn't commit the whatever case may be. This is the problem we are having. So it's a systemic problem. Now, this particular matter got to Supreme Court. There's a matter they call Lafu Dejo. It's a magistrate, a retired magistrate in Lagos. People were telling the same question you asked just now. I said, okay, why can't me, judge? This thing came before me. I said, can't do this. The question the Lafu Dejo was asking is that, so what am I supposed to do as a magistrate when the law say do this? And I begin to say, police, why should you bring this? Should I just release the man that they brought before, even though I knew or I know that I'm not the one investigating, but for facts before me, I know that the man is not whatever his case may be. Should I just release the man to go? If I release him to go, is it not the same you that will come for me and say the man has given me money? That was why I released him. People say it's a terrible criminal, but he got to the court just look at the paper and say, come on, release, go on bail. It became a question. The matter got to Supreme Court. The Supreme Court now came, and just like Lord Denny said, he said that the law can be expanded or contracted by the judge. in the interest of what? Justice.
Parallax views.
You understand the point now? And that is why you see when Jeremy Bentham now came and wrote about the principles of justice, open justice. You see all these things coming into play there. Now the cerebral judges, Onoegen, Oputa, assures them. I say, look, this Nigeria. See, we're not in the Serengeti. We're not in the Okavango, where you keep animals, where they reside. Yes. What you do is that, when this say come to you, let equity, try and water down the hard rock that you have as law. What did this man? Why did he come about? And that is what some of the magistrates have been doing. I experienced it 2 weeks ago in one of the courts in Port Harcourt here. And that, I don't want to call anybody magistrate, but wonderful magistrate. She's done her own. Police came with the order and said, no. They said, no, there's no cause of action. Because said there must be a cause of action. And looking at the proof of evidence, what has the man done? Saying, what kind of... you arrested him, you've kept him in 10 days in your place, and you are begging to detain him further. Why should I detain him? Can you give me reasons? He now went cleverly, smartly, and I look and say, but what I'm seeing here, I don't. What happened? He called the man, the suspect, said, what happened? The man said, they gave me money to build house, and one thing happened. So the money, one thing. So that's a civil matter.
And the police should not be involved.
You understand? He said, is that the reason why you brought him here? Police was one. He said, okay, let me just be fair to you. I will not grant it. Take him back to that place and do more investigation.
Let me come in there.
Do you understand the point?
Let me come in there.
Novel. I was very happy.
Let me come in there. In US, that's what happens. They may even know that you shot, like O.J. Simpson's case. They have to go get evidence first. Like any other case, they may even know. They say somebody's point the finger and say, yes, you killed your wife. But they won't come immediately to arrest you.
Yes.
They first of all do their investigations. With enough evidence, they will now come with a warrant and said you are here.
Absolutely.
And they put you away.
You are going to court straight from there.
Can't our judges come? Because to the extent, sir.
Yes.
To the extent, sir.
Yes.
That it's part of international laws that we have signed and charters we've signed, the human rights laws in our constitution and all that. We say we are responsible people, yet our prisons are filled up with people under suspicion, unproven cases, allegations, and so on, filled up there. I guess it's not amounting to breaking of the human rights that we signed charter to. It doesn't even make mess of the law that the so-called elites, noble men, learned men sit over the court of temple of justice. How just have you judiciously have you discharged your assignment as a lawyer and as a judge when people can be thrown to jail for no just cause and they languish there? And look at the condition where they stay. The commander in chief will not tell me that he does not know about it. The governors will say they don't know about it. So, and the lawyers wouldn't say they don't know about it.
Let me tell you. Let me shock you now. There's a particular judgment that was given by the industrial court. I think yesterday or 2 days. I don't know when it gave that particular judgment. We have been advocating for that. Number one, the system of bail should be scrapped. That is where all these problems come from. The reason why Nigerians are scared to speak up is because of detention. A man will look, as police come after me now, I might not get home today. Maybe I'll be dead till next year. He's scared. He begins to plead with the police. Please, how much will I pay to get my freedom? You understand? Why? Because the police has an arresting authority. And also has a dubious way say you can keep for 24 hours. Then 48 hours. That should be off. Now, that's why they now said that in the US and UK, you have what they call district attorneys in a police station. That when they bring a man that stole phone, you understand? The man will look at the lawyers there in the police station in Nigeria here. We look at why did you bring this man here? Say he stole phone at one market, value of phone is 2,000. You understand? He will say this is available offense. Hey, get your relations now to come and take you. He signs. You understand? But where that is lacking, the DPO will cross after eating his garri and beans and eating bar. He'll be picking his teeth and say, oh, you are the boys disturbing this neighborhood.
Okay, so
you are the boy disturbing this neighborhood. Okay, you keep him there first. When it's ready, you're not going to wait
before my colleague come in, let's look at the Industrial Court of Nigeria's order, which has mandated the Police Service Commission, the Nigerian Police Force, and the Inspector General of Police to deploy legally qualified police officers to every police division, which is in line with what you just said. Now, the order was contained in a judgment delivered on July 10, 2026 by the Abuja Judicial Division of the court in a suit filed by, I have to give credit to the Nigerian Bar Association,
yes,
against the Police Service Commission, the Nigerian Police Force, and 4 other defendants. Now, this comes down to the issue at hand. I have had personal encounters with police personnel. And the only thing that saved me was that, 1, I was a journalist. 2, I had police officers in my family.
That's right.
And by the time I mentioned one name, all of them who were on that patrol team knew he was their, in fact, when they look at the hierarchy, he was way above their pay grade. So I was free. But that opened my eyes to certain things. My story was, I went out then I was in college, with my sick girlfriend to the hospital, medication. On our way back, I decided, because I was working and going to school at the same time, let me stop by a cafeteria, get food for her while I return back to the office. I also remembered at that instant that my backyard needed clearing and I didn't have a machete in the house. So I stopped an aboki who was selling.
Yes.
And I bought one. Upon getting to the eatery, the security guy said, "Oh, we don't allow people to go in with this." So I left it with him. But upon coming out, the SARS, that was back in 2014, the SARS vehicle that was parked there, the young man told me they came, collected the machete. So I went to them. The moment I went, I was handcuffed. And what was the allegation? That I am the criminal. The got intel was coming to the
allegation, yes.
And so I asked, with what? In a place that everybody in that area knows that this SARS vehicle is stationed here 24/7. Who comes to a fight with a machete when there are AK-47s by the Nigerian Security Police?
Yes.
So at the end of the day, that opened my mind to what every Nigerian most Nigerians are going through. Now, the question of the rights of every Nigerian is something that the Nigerian Police Force is being employed to protect. But in the line of duty, they are the ones violating this right. So, where then, or how can Nigerians, the common man in quotes, demand for his right without being further brutalized and victimized by the police personnel?
The law, the same law, the Police Act. The reason why the policeman accosted you or handcuffed you was because of the lacuna that was present, in their law, which is a mischief that needs to be cured by the legislature. Now, what is that particular law saying? It says, if police are moving now and they see somebody, you mustn't wait for the person to commit the crime, and they reasonably believe that he has an instrument like that cutlass you had with you, and some other weapons or house-breaking instrument in the night, that the police on reasonable ground can arrest you. That is what the law is talking about.
But as at the same time, they had aboki who were running the streets.
That's the problem. So you find that that is what the police act gives them that room.
Selective justice.
That's why you see a policeman will just dive in and stop by and say, "Excuse me, come. What's in your bag?" You understand, which is illegal, but they have kind of exploited that particular part of the law to now say based on reasonable suspicion. And even as it is, people think the judiciary is not doing. The courts have said that reasonable suspicion is not just suspicion of any kind. That it must be reasonable that a reasonable man, because for instance, if they have used reasonability in your matter, they know that this afternoon and this is a cafeteria, you want to go and buy whatever, a man that has the machete, then they accost him and say, "What are you doing with this whatever?"
A gentleman.
Oh, explain. Oh, I want to cut my whatever as case. Okay, they give you back. They look at you as a reasonable person. They give you back your whatever and say, "Thank you very much," and go. But they exploit it. The reason is because they have seen that as an avenue for them to make, extra policing funds.
Chief, I would love to ask this question. When the Nigerian police was formed 1930, May or so, bail was free to the latter, and proper investigation was also given the place of people that are in charge of offenses that they didn't even commit. Police force was what we envisioned it to be then. So what changed? Because the police force we know now, whether you're wrong or right, for the fact that you have a relative, you can pick up anybody. And that person might end up being in jail. After police, they might just push the person to a prison yard where you see them keep, there are no lawyer to come take over their case and all of that. How did we get from the 1930 police that was meant to serve the people, protect the people, to what we have today, to the some police officer which are criminals, kidnappers? How do we change the narrative?
Now the problem we have and what changed was that Nigeria operates two systems of criminal justice system. Like in the northern part of Nigeria, they operate the criminal code or criminal procedure, whatever the case may be. But in the southern part, we operate the Criminal Code Act. And these two laws are diametrically opposed. They are different to each other. Now, one form an offense in this northern part may not be so in the other area. And from practice, I found that this issue of bail, extortion, etc., happens mostly in the southern part of Nigeria.
A lot.
In the northern part of Nigeria, I don't see, rampant cases of people saying that they've been there, etc., they refuse to grant them bail. I have practiced in one of the northern part of Nigeria. If they arrest anybody, then once the district head of the community or the area the person resides comes to the station, they release the person to him without even asking for money. They just release those suspect to them because it's the affair or whatever they call him. He's respected in the community. There they release, but in the southern part it does not happen. Even if your king comes to the station, they'll say, "Oh, guy, he's a criminal." They must extort and take that money from him. So the criminal justice system, I think that is what has brought this dichotomy and this problem. Because you see, the moment we got independence, we now have to go back and say independence means that all British and colonial, laws, whatever, we have to amend them or abolish, or as the case may be. So that was what brought all these things. And that is why you see the police people who are serving in Sokoto, for instance, if you see them, they are well behaved and well respected. They are not as corrupt as, I'm using the word, very carefully, as we have here in the southern part, because they still follow the system. And the people there cannot, an outside man, no, I'm sorry using the word, the northern people there, you arrest the second and pay, they will not pay you 100,000 naira. They will not pay you 100,000 to get their brother out. So that is why you see most times so they say, bring him out. If you don't bring, they come in there and do whatever, use unlawful means to get him out. You understand? So the police know what they are facing. So that's why they don't practice it. It's not rampant there.
Okay, so
but the second part of Nigeria, they just hold it as an institution.
All right, Chief, as we wind down in the conversation, last week Femi Falana was trending because of a comment he made in terms of with regards to terrorism financing, where he dared one of the leading figure, talking about Ali Sharif, to sue him if he thinks what he is saying is not true. Now, in his comment, Falana said that as Nigerians, as far as terrorism financing is concerned, that Nigerians know, and Ali Sharif is one of the person that the Nigerian government needs to pay attention to. A lot of people had anticipated we'll see a legal suit flying around, but up till this moment, we're yet to see anything. Now, I'm bringing that story up to ask a question. The insecurity situation in Nigeria has skyrocketed. As a matter of fact, over the weekend, Festus Keyamo, the Minister of Aviation, has been trending over an altercation that happened between himself and the presidential candidate, Peter Obi. Story has it from the Peter Obi axis that his vehicle did not stay within the airport entrance enough to necessitate it, or to have necessitated the clamp down on his vehicle tires. Whereas Festus Keyamo is saying, look, the presidential candidate overstayed his welcome and was constituting nuisance to other users of the airport. On the two sides, the question also down came in. The minister went ahead to release airport CCTV footage in an attempt to clarify his standpoint. Meanwhile, we have seen different incidences that have happened in Nigeria, some that were very, very serious threats to the safety of the airport users. But we didn't see the aviation ministry or the aviation minister release footages, even when Nigerians were calling for it. So the question is Peter Obi's life not being threatened by the APC administration through the action of Festus Keyamo?
All the major politicians and their lives invariably have been threatened. There are people who have written, I've seen on Facebook, where a young man wrote, if this man wins the next election, he's going to do this, he's going to do that. Those are threats. This is a political, time. You understand the point? Now, we should be very careful when we talk about threat to life, because it's a very serious matter. Now, because when you say your life is being threatened, if anything now happens to you tomorrow, you say, I said it, he said it before. So we should be very careful, especially politicians, when they use those words. They should know that they are leaders, as the case may be. Because I have periscoped and even talked about this P2B and the aviation ministry, whatever as the case may be. The two sides are politicking, in my own opinion. The two sides are politicking. One thinks that yes, he's a candidate, he needs to be given, some niceties and some appurtenances, being that he is so person, well known as the case may be. The other one feels that no, the law must take its course. Now people are now looking to say that no, even we know that the law must take its course, there must not be selective amnesia and justice being dispensed, the way it is. So you find that, emotions, may boil over, in situations of this nature. What is supposed to happen? I have said that if Festus Keyamo felt that a man has breached the whatever his case may be, let him go to court and prove his case. Then maybe Obi will appear before them or anybody at all, or maybe the driver will appear before the panel or the court and say this is not what happened. Then let be an independent arbiter that will resolve all these things. But throwing banters and narratives here and there, for me, is getting so political. Now, the political literature in Nigeria is becoming so nauseating. I hope it will not get to the point where the 1972 Watergate whatever scandal situation, comes in. Because you look at these big brats, whatever they do now, Obi will say life is threatened. Tinubu and his people will now say no, we are not threatening his life. On the narrative, nobody is talking about the good, how they're going to project this country and take us out of the woods, as the case may be. So politics is being played. Let it not get to that, gate as we talk about. For me, that has even overshadowed the Bajabiamila, whatever as the case may be, the narrative. And I told somebody that Nigeria has 2-week syndrome of, periscoping issues of this nature. I said this, Bajabiamila, whatever, will go underground very soon. You might not be hearing about it again. And this is one of the reasons. Obi versus Yamo Matana has now, sunk that into the underground. Nobody is, paying attention to that again. So these politicians should just normally play their politics in a very decorous manner. At least a modicum of issue is what we expected from them. I do not want to validate any of them to say this is what is happening, but in my own opinion, for me, it is becoming nauseating. Okay. Because that is what fills the air right now. You see the other man. Look at the girls that were released. Nobody's talking about it. We're prescribing some things that are not really for me. I feel like they're not very important. Open and close. There should be legacy, talks, not talks on these shibboleths around issues or personal whatever as case may be. Okay. In a nation like Nigeria, we need to grow more than this.
Now, just before we take our last shot as we wind down, Chief, the ICPC is set to arraign the ex-minister Naji today, and of course, DG Adeniyi, the man from the PFIPC that you just highlighted this morning. But there have been concerns from Nigerians, from civil society organizations such as CRAP. We've also had the likes of Atiku Abubakar, Peter Obi calling on the Nigerian president to first and foremost suspend Femi Gbajabiamila from his office to allow for proper independent investigation. They've also said the ICPC, which is an arm of the federal government, should not be the one investigating Gbajabiamila and the Prince Adeniyi over this issue. Now, looking at all the facts that are available, one man gained access to appointment letter from the presidency The same man was able to open a CBN account that is mandated for government agencies. He had all the criteria, met all the criteria, got all the signatures. The same man had an office in a complex that is designated for government ministries, departments, and agencies only. And then all of a sudden, government comes out to say, look, this man is fake. And they are giving Nigerians the reason to say, oh, he forged, he found his way to meander through the different legal documents. Doesn't this make Nigeria the biggest joke of the century, in the 21st century? That one man is able to do all of this in an administration led by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And yet, we are playing politics with it.
It's akin to 1872. There's an American president, his name is Ulysses Grant. I think he's the 18th president of America. There was a scandal called the Mobile Credit. Mobile Credit, scandal. You know what happened? I don't know if they read that script, and that is what they played back here. A particular man who was close to Congress and, executive, went in, inflated contracts, and got money to construct a railroad, going somewhere. Later, it was now discovered that the man is part of Congress, and he now came out and said, for me to do this, I had Congress, behind me. And this particular Congress, as they supported me, I have even turned their shares that I'm supposed to give to them into shares in the company that is non-existent. That is 1872. You understand? A similar thing is happening here. Now, a lot of heads rolled. Now, what should happen here is that the Nigerian situation should be like that, but we are not as decent as we have in other crime, as case may be. Now, in Nigeria, we don't have that culture of resignation. I have seen people who has done so badly well in office. They say, they'll be waiting to say, has any court found me guilty that I will leave the office? No court has found me guilty. But I have said that in the civil service, we call interdiction. I don't know whether that word is still there, or maybe they've expunged it from that civil service dictionary. That says that if somebody accuses me as a civil servant of having corruptly done something, and they want to do an enhanced investigation, they will tell me to take a leave for about a week or whatever, or 2 weeks for them to investigate. If they do, if their findings now come out and they now say I'm culpable, I will not be prosecuted. But if I'm exonerated, they reinstate me back, to my seat. In the Gbajabiamila case, now the appointer, that is the president, ought to say, look, my man, you are spoiling the image of this particular administration. Please, we want you, can't you just please just give me step down. But he is playing politics with it because he knows at the moment he says that Gbajabiamila should go down, that will be a negative, propensity for his campaign, whatever, 2027. So he does not want the opposition to now say that is self-indicting. And there's a word I want to use, introponitive. You know what introponitive means? When I begin to examine myself and self-blame myself. People will say, can't you see they are guilty? That's why I told the man to go down. Opposition will use that against them. This people play politics with everything. Ordinarily, the man that appointed you shall say, step aside. 2, a man that has conscience, should have said, oh, look, this is a disgrace to my person and persona. Let me just step aside. We don't have sort. In China the other day, and Japan, there's what we call harakiri, suicide. I'm not encouraging that they do that here in Nigeria, but that is what happens there. A man, just 5,000 pounds, that allegedly, it was not even proven yet, allegedly that he collected from a businessman, a contractor. The man went to this 70-something floor. I want to, commit suicide before he was now arrested. Because he said, death before dishonor. You understand the point now? Death before dishonor. I'm not asking them to go and die, but politically, they should just kill themselves politically and say, go by the side. That is why you see today, somebody won election from the prisons. A man that was said to won election. In Nigeria today, a man, a highly placed politician, who was convicted and sent to prison, is a main party man, board of trustee, a member of a political party in Nigeria today. And people are telling me that we have culture of resignation, and we have people with humility, people with integrity is very scarce to find in Nigeria today. As case maybe, it's a big problem we're having. And now, or if I want to like encapsulate and finally say what I want to say in all of all these things, we have a dishonest establishment system in Nigeria today. And that is why you see, we wake up in the morning, you hear one particular scandal come, before you know it dies off. The question I ask is this: what has happened to that boy that police shot at Delta State? That it actually made waves. At the end of the day, Nigerians, I don't even know whether we will remember the matter again. Chief, it's the same thing that's going to happen here.
Chief, I'd love to ask a question still on this line. Do you have faith in the president? Do you think that this case of Femi Gbajabiamila and the prince will actually have a way through as it should be, like justice will uphold itself, or it will die or water down like the normal Nigerian syndrome?
He's already dead. He's already dead. You know why I'm saying that? Let me tell people who are saying set up administration inquiry. The Supreme Court has even said in the Amechi case that the state government or federal government has the right, intrinsic in the constitution, to set up panel. You can't even tell them how to set it up. They just set up panel and put it there. And if the panel comes out with their white paper, they submit to president, he will keep it under his seat and put his foot on top of the document and tell to go and do whatever he want to do. And without that particular inquiry paper, how do you prosecute Gbajabiamila and the rest of them? Okay, so it's something that is self-destructing.
Okay, sir. Talking about rule of law and effective law and order in society. In Peru, the president, Dina Boluarte, her private residence was invaded, as it were, by the police on suspicion of illicit corruption, because she did not, they suspected that she did not disclose a certain Rolex wristwatch which they saw on picture. In the case of the learned sage, legal sage, Falana, SAN, calling out a top elite from a politician, a former governor, Ali Modu Sharif, to say, I have evidence. You are a sponsor of Boko Haram. Challenge me in court. The same way the relevant security apparatuses in this country go after the so-called Yahoo boys, like the way they went for him, that just bought a machete for private use without anybody inviting them.
And he was
Shouldn't they have gone for the two of them? I said for the two because he who makes an allegation has the burden of proof. To say, Mr. Falana, come. Ali Modu Sharif, come. What are the issues we are hearing? They're talking about terrorism. Shouldn't they proactively? Should they wait for anybody to go and ignite a court case first, or court process, or get an arrest warrant? Did they wait for arrest warrant before they went to arrest him for his machete that he bought, or the people they search their phones on the road who are just passing on reasonable suspicion? Or is it because is it selective justice?
These are big men. These are, these people.
So are we serious?
These are gongon medusas. You understand? You see when you see gongon medusas, these are medusas. These are people who are above their spirits. Let me use the word.
But Chief, the law is supposed to be
the law respects spirits in Nigeria. See, let me tell you, the law respects spirits. Let me tell you why. That is the reason why Gbajabiamila is sitting down there. If it's an ordinary man, he will go. They will arrest him now
and probe him.
The EFCC will go after him.
So he
will be behind bars while they are doing that. So when these people are there, look at Modu Sharif is a supporter of this government and is a top-notch politician. Femi Falana, is a deity, legal deity. So when we go and meet him, the onus, how do you change government? When the good people just sit by, the evil men will take over and rule. That is what is happening. Femi Falana, that is, I give him a blame, a little one. As a top lawyer, the Constitution says that I have the right. In fact, the right is in me. Imposed on me to do what? Tell police that there's a crime being committed here or has been committed. Go and investigate it.
Okay.
It's a duty. It's a civil duty. Let me use the word. So Falana should have, written to DSS as a top-notch man. They will look at his petition and maybe invite Sheriff.
But do they
that is the starting point.
Wait for the arrest the Yahoo boys?
The Yahoo boys are these people are minnows. These people are minnows. in the hierarchy of leadership and power, they are just like the proletariats.
All right.
So these people are just like mosquitoes.
You therefore mean the law has been politicized?
The law, Nigerian law has a face, so has an eyes. Justice is not there. The Judex in Nigeria here has is debilitating, and they are working with knuckled leg, not knees, as this may be.
Thank you so much, Chief. It's been quite a refreshing moment, an eye-opening moment this morning on this surgery. We've been speaking with Chief Asim Adams, a legal practitioner and co-convener Access to Justice International, Port Harcourt, River State. Thank you so much, Chief, for coming on the show this morning.
Thank you for inviting me.
And yes, this is where we draw the curtains on behalf of MI, Barrister Christine, and myself. Thank you so much for being part of CEMTV News Surgery. See you again, same time, same station tomorrow. It's bye for now.
CEMTV wakes you up, goes through with you, welcomes you back home. It's all about you.